243. $245. All right. Market analysis for November 17th. Right. You know what? I'm going to start off because last week we were really pushing hard on the night scavenger hunt. Did you happen to check that out?
No, I have not.
Oh yeah, no worries. The I'm really pleased with it. I've got I'll share my screen here. This is one of the mining instances that I have. I've got currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 instances. So I got 14 different tabs across 14 different Brave profiles, because otherwise you can't reconnect the wallet. Every one of them, or I shouldn't say every one of them, 11 of them are smart contracts that are written manually. That was a fun exercise. I put the video up in the NextGen Merchants Telegram. But so this has been running now for a few days. This is the one that I first started up. I didn't start the mining rig. I call it the poor man's mining rig, because it's like if you're just using your computer, you don't have to get a mining computer. You don't have to get an ASIC chip or anything like that. You can do it right through your browser, connecting your wallet. And the fun part about this was just learning how smart contracts actually work, because I did those 30 smart contracts on the YouTube. I did them all manually. So I just really, really good practice. Currently, this, again, like I say, this is the biggest one. Currently at 245 night, which is there's no valuation on it yet because it's not been released. The word is I think December 8th or 7th or something like that is the date that they are actually launching the coin, where it is available for purchase. And so what we've done, what they did was that they what Midnight did is that they had this glacier drop. So we're going to drop all of these coins, but they're frozen, hence the glacier. And these frozen assets are going to be in your wallet. And the reason why they do this is because they don't want there to be an organization that has interest in the price going up. They would rather have people who value what this organization values hold the only currency that's available, and that becomes their stake in bringing governance to what Night does, what Midnight is all about. So this is just really cool. They had a big drop. I can't even remember how many I got when I started that drop. It's like 1,000 or something like that. I got right out of the gate. And then there was leftovers where some people didn't claim the coins because not enough people knew about it. So, and I think it was like 20% of the tokens that they had assigned to give out to interested parties to bring that governance. They were the leftovers they put into behind these cryptographic challenges. So you just got to connect your wallet and put this up. There are only 2 days left, so you might want to do that if you want to get a little bit of extras. I was getting about, depending on how well because it consumes resources on your computer. So I had to optimize this. I started out with 30 and I wasn't mining anything because my computer wasn't processing. It wasn't going through the challenges. Wasn't able to. So I actually shaved it back and I went down to 14 so that these challenges could be solved. And I was averaging about 3 or 4 per day per instance. That's the average. So in total, since 7 days is because I didn't even get started when they started the glacier drop. I didn't know about it. I got 245 night. So that is exciting. So when this coin comes out, it's going to do very, very well. The amount, this is very interesting. The amount of power that was consumed in all of the people mining night for the last 10 days, I think. It's been going on for 10 days. The amount of power consumed around the world in mining night in that period of time was greater than the amount of power consumed in Bitcoin mining from its start to 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that something? What a cool thing to be a part of. So, yeah, that's the big update. How about you, Ian? How did things progress? I know you were having some difficulty getting things connected. Well, how have things progressed since then?
Well, on one, there, another one just went inactive again since this morning.
Yep.
And I don't have any on that one. It's 0.6065%.
Okay, yeah.
And then another one, 4.53 night.
4.539. Okay, yeah. Awesome.
And then another one, where is it? And that one has 0.
Okay, yep.
So I've got 3 running, and 2 of them are 0. Yeah, even though they've been running for over 24 hours.
Right, yeah. So there's an average that people get per solution, because this is the metric right here, is how many times are you able to solve a problem? And the reason why I figure that's the metric is because then that tells us how much we're getting paid for every problem.
Okay.
Because that's when the reward comes. When you find that, then they reward the night. And so the people in Discord, that this is the developer community, and these guys, they're one of these guys, Ian, you're going to laugh at this. One of these guys has 400 instances. He's got 400 smart contracts mining night.
Oh, wow.
And he's at close to 10,000 night accumulated. But he's also been finding tons of solutions, which is great. You're getting more solutions. But this is weird. It's kind of like the old lady and the coin that Jesus talked about, because the average that he was getting paid per solution was 1.2 something, 23, I think it was, or 1.32 or something like that. I remember those numbers. So he was getting paid about $1.25, let's say $1.30, sorry, 1.2, 1.3 night per solution. But I just did the math before market analysis here. Between all of my machines, this one here has 25 solutions. Between all of the machines I have 100 solutions in total. I got 245 night so far. So I'm getting paid 2.45 night per solution.
Okay.
Well, here's a guy with a mining machine. He runs servers all the time. He's a developer. He knows how to do things. He actually built custom software to mine night. And I'm getting paid more solution than he is. He's just doing larger volume. Isn't that wild?
So I'm getting 2 solutions per 504. Well, actually, that one's at 0.
Okay, that The 504 is the total number of hours that they have available. At 504, that's the total number of solutions that they are launching.
Okay, so I have 3 solutions
Yep.
for 4.58, 538 night.
Okay. Yeah. So that's getting up there, like 1.4, 1.5 night, I think. Wouldn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. That's interesting. Fascinating how widely differing the value is. Fascinating. All right. Well, that's the midnight launch, and I've got a video that I'm just finishing up watching. I'm gonna drop it in the Telegram here. This video, I saw it go into my feed last week, and I think it was on Friday, maybe on Saturday. And I was not able to watch it right away because we had market. But this video here, oh my goodness, it has some technical aspects to it, so there might be some dry spots, but you get the message. You get the message. It's I'm going to go ahead and just put it up on here as well so we can see what it looks like. But this is what I shared up in Telegram. It's about an hour and 10 minutes. But it is Charles Hoskinson, who was the founder of Input Output and currently the CEO. And that is the company that started Cardano and as that branch away from Ethereum in order to bring more rationality to smart contracts. Well, now they're applying the same principles to the rationality of privacy. And so he presents on midnight with this video. All right, let's talk about the markets. I'm going to bring up NVIDIA because it's time. NVIDIA has been cooking the books, guys. They're getting so, it's bad. And I think they're going to pull it off. I think they're going to be able to continue going for another couple of years. That is, unless the people recognize that no, American tech does not, just because it's American doesn't necessarily make it the best tech. And NVIDIA is, while they are, well, the whole thing is a schmoz. You got OpenAI, the data collector of the brainchild of Bill Gates through Microsoft. OpenAI is, they are consuming approximately $10 million a day in electricity. $10 million a day in just electricity to run their machine. It is expected that by the end of 2027, that like these LLM models, these computers are going to constitute 6% of the entire power grid. NVIDIA builds chips in order for these data packets to be processed. OpenAI wants to get government funding, and they successfully got it through the what was that, Stargate, Project Stargate? Was that what it's called? That was one of the first things that Trump announced after his inauguration. Project Stargate. $500 billion we're dedicating into building artificial intelligence, and it even looked like Elon was going to get it for Grok. He was going to get a bunch from that budget with Grok, but then they had their little dispute, and now we don't know. But OpenAI, just a few months ago, after launching their ChatGPT model for the public in September of 2022, where was I going with this? OpenAI needs more chips. And so they are promising NVIDIA that we'll give you $100 billion over the next little while so that we can accommodate the $1 trillion of business that we've closed in the future. All of the companies that are, think of the .com bubble, folks. Companies were buying domains for $250,000 minimum. Now you can get a domain for like $10, $12, depending on the source. It's crazy. The same thing is happening again. Think of it this way. These LLMs, this agentic universe that's coming forward, where we're just going to be like, think of Star Trek, computer, get me this or get me that, or where is data or data? Where's Doctor? Oh man, I can't remember their names. It's been a long time. But where are these people? You can ask questions to this artificially intelligent computer, and it will have a conversation with you. That is the level of automation that we've been able to reach with these ones and zeros. And so it only makes sense that we're going to move in that direction, because it minimizes the amount of times we have to push buttons. We can just have conversations with these machines, and they can do. No, of course, it sounds dangerous, and it is if you're not privatizing your data. And the whole world is revolving right now around NVIDIA. Why? Because they actually are not in the chip business. What they're in is data storage. The NVIDIA chips, that's their one-time, here, buy this, and then we'll buy it again in 2 years or whatever else. Their money maker is selling chips for storage of data, not the processing of data. They make more money doing that. And so centralized services are getting the push right now because that's what's going to save the economy. They're too big to fail. And we talked about that last week, how the, and I can't remember who it was in NVIDIA, they slipped up. What is like a director of PR or something like that, said that we might have to get a government backstop to be able to complete these projects. Well, that looked like government bailouts. And they came out and said, basically, yeah, no, it's not a bailout. It's not that the government's going to have to bail us out. It's that the government's probably going to have to reinvest even more in order for their $500 billion project to be seen through to the end. So it's not that we need a bailout. We just need a bailout. NVIDIA, in order for them to have that, there's another company, Oracle. Oracle is data centers, okay? Think Alphabet, which is Google's massive data center. Oracle is another massive data center. They have conglomerates that are, that they partner up with Amazon and Meta. Well, NVIDIA and Oracle they have a $300 billion contract on the books. Well, in order for that $300 billion to be paid, or for that $300 billion to be, sorry, I went wrong. NVIDIA is selling chips to Oracle, and it is OpenAI that is subscribing to Oracle for storage. And so OpenAI is pledging that now they're going to need to pay Oracle $300 billion, and Oracle is going to have to supply that, but they need the chips from NVIDIA. And NVIDIA is saying to Oracle, well, you give us that money so that we can guarantee the chips, so that we can guarantee that our customer OpenAI, number one customer, OpenAI, can be our customer. It's like nobody has the resources to deliver on anything that they're promising, and they're all banking on everybody signing up. If they don't get the majority of people that they have budgeted to sign up, they won't meet their budgets and they'll collapse. Period.
Sounds like a bunch of money laundering.
That makes sense, though. I mean, that's the monetary's model. The monetary system's model is literally incentivize. It is built to incentivize this kind of action, this kind of.
So is that what you meant by them cooking the books?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you betcha. And there was an article, I'd say probably 2 or 3 months ago, where the CEO of NVIDIA said it outright, like without using the language, we're cooking the books. He used a different language pattern. I can't remember how it was, but it was like a different language pattern, just saying, it's not good that we're going to be. It's similar to what he did with the bailout thing. No, we're not cooking the books. We're just making sure that the creative financing is showing that we're have all of this wonderful profit coming in. Now, in order for this, another major component, another company that's in a part of all of this is Palantir. Palantir is the surveillance company that has military contracts with Israel, by the way, and OpenAI at the same time. Conflict of interest? I don't know. Their job is to monitor all of the content that's on AI for national security threats. No, they're not going to see all your content. They can just look whenever they want. Well, what's interesting is that Peter Thiel, who is the head, the big Pumbaa, the big cheese at Palantir, he was just yesterday sold every last bit of stock that he had in NVIDIA. Wait, what? Palantir, the one who has the government contract to have complete access to OpenAI's database and all of our chats, the CEO of that company, capable of doing that, just sold all of his stock in a company that needs to make the chips so that he can have OpenAI as a contract. What? Either he's the luckiest or the stupidest businessman in all the world. Which one is it going to be? We'll find out. We'll find out.
Yeah, he doesn't do that without some very significant intel.
Oh, that was on Unusual Whales. I saw that this morning. Let's see if I can find that back again.
Why would he be included in the whales? Is he a whale in cryptocurrency?
I'm not sure, but Unusual Whales isn't for cryptos.
Okay.
It's overall. Unusual Whales is for all stocks, market tools, on any unusual options activity. Also does data journalism on which where the senators and Congress people are invested. Here we go. What was the word? What was the? Oh, and yep, and here we go. From Bloomberg, OpenAI has now has closed $1 trillion of deals. So they have now $1 trillion committed to coming in. That's why I think they're going to pull it off. But NVIDIA is going to be taking a little bit of a hit simply because the chips that are coming out of China are definitely superior. I can't find. Oh yeah, here we go. Peter Thiel. I wonder if I can just share this instead, and then that way it's easier. Here we go.
Can you put a link in the Telegram chat?
Yes, indeed. There we go. Peter Thiel's fund has sold its entire position of 537,742 NVIDIA. Gone. Liquidated the whole thing.
I am officially running for president of...
Somebody's running for president. Oh, that's the wrong link. Copy and throw it in Telegram. Boom. Looking forward to my website being done because I would much rather have the Telegram on my own domain. Like that kind of conversation. All right, so that's about NVIDIA. What did I have next? Cryptos. Let's talk about the contraction in cryptos. What the heck? It's Bitcoin dominance we start with. Look at how that's been declining. The trend is certainly staying below this now. We've got 3 full days of activity below that line, and that was the major one. We were looking at how that was consolidating here for the last week, 10 days or so, and how it was button up. It just couldn't get back above this high here. And now we are pressing downwards. What does that mean? As Bitcoin dominance goes down, it means that there's a larger percentage of money going into the altcoins. Now we're red right now. A couple hours ago, it was pretty green over here. But that this coming down is indicative of overall more money getting put into crypto, into the altcoins. And I bring up the coins excluding the past, or excluding the top 10. So this is the, crypto ranked 11 and downwards. It's pretty much consolidating over the last three days. But now let's bring up, this is excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Pretty much again, a little bit of a downtrend here. So where is it going? If the altcoins are getting more, remember Bitcoin dominance. Well, no, you know what? Let's just be fair. That's pretty much just, look at that. Open, close, open, close, open, close, all within just a few points. So yeah, it's just hanging out, consolidating, but lower. So that tells me that we are going to be seeing more coming in to these altcoins. Now, another thing is to be mindful. I'm going to bring this up again. I said it first thing. Midnight, the amount of computing power that has been used in just the last, it's under 2 weeks. Since the scavenger mine began, the amount of electricity consumed dedicated to solving those cryptographic equations, that energy is greater than the amount of energy that was used to mine Bitcoin from its inception to 2020. That is what? That's how much electricity people have used to mine and solve these problems to get coins in midnight. Yep. And we're going to see a lot of news coming out of that. I think that, if I remember correctly, December 7th is the date that's launching, where that's going to be a token that you can actually purchase. Yes, I will be probably getting 50% of my ADA. I will be transferring that into midnight. Oh, silver. Silver has been, it retraced since challenging that all-time high again last week.
Question.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No.
Can you repeat that, what you said about you're transferring 50% of your ADA into night?
Yes.
What's the reason for that?
Because I think that midnight will grow at a faster rate than ADA.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're doing that now, or you're doing that when night becomes available?
The moment night is on the exchanges, that's when I'll be making my transfer. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken from what saw so far, is that we're going to be able to, with this wallet here, the Eternal wallet.
Okay.
And it's going to be in swap. So inside, there we go. In swap, we'll be selecting ADA, how much, and then in here we'll be selecting midnight.
Now, what determines the liquidity in an environment like that? You build
Dexes.
it. That's it, eh? Okay.
Yep, dexes, and they build through transaction fees. Yep. Silver hanging out now at $50.79. Gold also retraced a little bit. However, we see gold did not go back and challenge that all-time high like silver did. But it's retraced a bit here as well. We may very well see some consolidation over the next little while. Gold and silver both consolidating somewhere along this line. Unless, of course, there's a crisis. There was a report that I saw that it is estimated that the institutions have, like all together, the institutions, and this is why we're going into the U.S. markets next. Talked about this lots. Where is the money going? When it crashes like this, it doesn't disappear. It gets transferred from one form to another. So where is it going? Digital assets. Where is the next big crash going to be? Here's where COVID happened. That crash there, it was when Zoom became an overnight. Zoom went up 600%, by the way, in this period. Their stocks, or maybe it was even more than that. Anyway, that drop there, we're going to see something like that again. When it happens, it's just going to be another transference. Okay. But this is the thing. It is estimated that the institutions currently have $2.3 trillion ready to go. As in, they're ready. They're on the bridge, so to speak. 2.3 trillion? Wait, let's go and look at the Bitcoin market capitalization is 1.8. All of crypto. Let's go to that. Overview. Oh, that's Monero. What? Where's... There we go. All of crypto. I don't even know. Where do I look for? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Market cap of everything is 3.14. You're telling me that the markets are going... The crypto markets are ready to expand by 2/3? That's a 60% growth that's on the verge of being passed through this transition. That's wild. The numbers are just incredible. Bitcoin showing some weakness right now, looking like it's going to find some support at this old consolidation range. And if that much money comes in, how much of it's going to go to Bitcoin? I went back to regular because I was showing someone some gold graphs earlier. Where does that put Bitcoin? Well, right now, if Bitcoin is 1.8 of that 2.1, was that what it was? 3.1, sorry. So Bitcoin is more than 50% of all crypto. So if that ratio continues, we'll probably see out of that 2.3 that's poised, we'll probably see at least $1 trillion automatically get thrown into Bitcoin. That's a 51% growth. That's in position to be transferred from one form into another for the next crisis, to create the fear, and everybody goes in and says, oh, sign me up for the things like my digital identifiers that I need so that we can all survive. That will be that next push, that next growth, that next accumulation. Money's not disappearing, though, folks. It's just going towards all of these things. Thank you to everybody who has started getting ready for this, because when that money comes in, by the time you look, you're going to wake up one morning and it's going to be like, whoops, I guess I should have bought if you haven't. And that's why we position ourselves like this. And I apologize up front right now to everybody where I said this time last year that it was going to happen within 3 to 4 months. I apologize for that.
You're supposed to be a future mind reader there, Paul.
I know. Bitcoin consolidating at that point right now. It looks definitely fine. It's definitely searching for that support. Remember, we have passed down below this long-term trend line all the way from 2015. So this is technically a breakout. On the weekly chart, however, it's not super consequential yet. Don't look at the lines. Ignore all of the horizontal lines here. On that weekly chart, it is an insignificant drop. Doesn't mean a whole lot yet. What we would need to see in order to know whether or not this is a full reversal, this is currently a potential reversal. The confirmation would be if the price were to come back up and test this long-term line, or if it were to test some of these, I would say the yellow line in particular. If it were to retest that and not be able to get back up over top of that long-term trend line, we'll continue to see some downward motion. The floor right now, the market structure can handle 74,000. Currently at 92.
What do you mean can handle 74,000?
So yeah, so
what's the likelihood of it going down to 40,000?
Likelihood of going down to 40,000. That's pretty low because it would have to blast through this C and this A. 40,000 is
okay, down to A then.
So down to A, the likelihood is very low. However, that's still on the weekly chart. If it hit A, it still would be just a consolidation from the highs from 2021.
Yep.
Now, the likelihood of it coming down here at this time is very low, but that probability will go up if it can't maintain C. And C already is unlikely. There's right now the way that we would define this in technical analysis is that there's only about a 40% chance of it getting down to here.
40%.
That's right. So it's a higher likelihood that we will not do that. That we will probably continue the trend. But as we get closer, if we're not able to maintain this level here, you can see, I'm going to go to the daily chart so we see a little bit more detail, a little bit more pixels, so to speak. I like how you said that, Ian, that I'm sticking with it. I'm running with it. You can see back here that where we are right now, back there, that was support back in December, right after the election. So that this here, if we can't maintain this, then that likelihood of going down to C goes up to 60%. Ethereum also finding some support from, previous, this is March 2024 back there. This is a crucial area for it as well. If it can't maintain that, we'll probably come back and test 2,600 next. ADA falling today. Had a conversation earlier with Denise. She's thinking of selling, guys. I just remember what I wrote. I drew this out here. If we can't stay above this yellow line, I expect it to test the bottom side of the yellow line for resistance, and then continue downwards. Very possible. And the other thing is that we have a triple bottom. We've talked about this in the past. We got time. Remember what happens? I told you how triple tops, they're dangerous. And then when you see this, it's even more dangerous. technically, from a technical analysis perspective, this is the triple top, and we're extending beyond it. Flip the chart upside down. The technical analysis is not, it's not biased to whether or not it's bullish or bearish. We simply look at the price action. And when we see characteristics in the price action, that gives us indications as to what we can expect in the future. Because it's all just pattern recognition. Well, the triple bottom is indicative of a reversal. But in the same way, these triple tops get an extension. ADA is a perfect, I like ADA for this. You know, take away the fact that nation states can use ADA to help provide governance brought forward by people using on-chain protocols. Let's just ignore that amazing miracle first. Let's also ignore the amazing miracle of proof of stake and what that's being able to do for people to get into DeFi. Let's ignore the fact that it's paving the way for a solid foundation for zero knowledge proof behind all of our transactions. Let's take away all of these wonderful things about ADA for a second. Analyze the chart. Triple bottom, and now we're extending. Triple top, and we're extending. We're going to see a crash. This is going to eventually reverse. We're going to see that retracement. Technical analysis. This is our 66% 60% likelihood that we are going to extend, because we didn't maintain this. So if you've been thinking about selling some ADA and getting it on sale, now might be a good time. I already did it once. I'm not going to manage it this time because I'm taking on a few more things that it's going to take up time in front of the screen. So I'm not selling. I'm just going to hold, but I'm not going to be trading this. However, this extension is very real. And after the extension, we're going to see that reversal. The reversal has been called. We're just now in that extension area, no different than we are today with this one. My belief is that if, now take the context of this last 45 minutes. My belief is that given the position of these companies, what it is that they're doing, what they're trying to pull off, and what they have been able to close, and what OpenAI has been able to close in business, you take all of those things, you take into consideration the amount of money that is literally on the verge of going over the fence and into digital currencies again. Similar to what happened in 2020. Digital assets became the next wave. That's where the money, when the money left the stock markets, it just went into tech. When this money leaves the stock markets, it's going to go into tech. The tech world, this is the tech market's stock market. Think of it that way. Cryptos are the tech world's technocratic stock market. That's what the reset is here. This is the reset, money coming over here. So when this drops, I believe, given all of the things that I've shared, that will give us the reversal we've been looking for from that triple bottom this whole time. We're just in extension right now. Will it go this far? At this point, it is not likely. Only 40%. Right now, what's likely is we're going to see the extension, because the triple top gave it to us, gave us that indication, extension, and away we go. I think that's all I wanted to say. That's how I wanted to encompass that. This is this pattern, if you want to learn more about this, is called the Wycroft strategy. Wycroft. I might have that. Wyckoff, that's right. The Wyckoff trading strategy. It was developed by Richard Wyckoff in the early 20th century. You know what? Let's bring this up. This is actually really good. I'm going to bring this up. So this strategy. Let's bring it up with. Can I bring this up fully? Here's the step-by-step guide. So this is the price cycle that he identified. He noticed this accumulation and then a markup, triple top, and then markdown. But this is a spring, he calls it. And that spring, you can see it goes up above that all-time high after the markup. This distribution area gets one last push, creating that, let's get above that trend. And then we see the retracement. Now again, this can be reversed. This is simply how a markup looks like in a bullish trend. In a bearish trend, the mark down would just be larger of an impulse than the markup. So this is the Wyckoff price, that strategy, and it's awesome. Accumulation, and then there's a spring, and then it takes off. And you can see that spring show up in volume as well. These are the volumes. So even though this was a bullish candle, the volumes were going down. Classic. Volumes in crypto, I wish I had that. I don't have that data. I wish I had that data. That'd be nice data to show, because there you go. That's another way that you can figure out what's going on. So this is a very, very in-depth. Okay, so we've gone through, going back to all of this. Remember, in cryptos, everything is just amplified and condensed at the same time. Amplified by price action. The percentages in price action are amplified 30, 40 times what we see in traditional markets. And that's because the lower market capitalization. You know, if you have something that's worth $10 million and you throw $1 million into it, that's 10%. You throw $1 million into the stock market and it doesn't even move. You don't even notice it. But this happens at greater amplitude and then also with condensed timelines. Because with traditional markets, your transactions are huge. In cryptos, these transactions are micro. They're super tiny. Why do you think AI measures its compute and interactions with us in tokens? You know, that's the talk of the town. How many tokens was your AI trained on? How many tokens does it take for you to have a context with Claude or ChatGPT? It's because the word token is think of the etymology of that. That's your currency. So these microtransactions are what make up all of these new stocks in improved stock market. Questions? I'm not going to go down further down this rabbit hole. We've got 2 more things I want to cover. Questions though? Any questions? Looking briefly at the other charts here, while if you guys are contemplating other questions, I'll just bring up the charts and comment, wave, or interrupt me if you've got questions. Injective, hovering at this low. XRP, not able to maintain it, but guess what? You think about it, the Wyckoff theory still works in a trend, folks. It's going up. And so here we have that touch point, you know, technically this is the triple bottom right in there. And so now it's extending. That is, I think we're that close. That's an interesting chart, eh?
So the XRP is telling you, if you can go back there, that it's going to bounce up.
Yeah, I'm thinking. And again, like, I'm going to take out this because this trend here will have precedence over a short-term trend like that. Now, again, yes, we're below, and there is the thought that and here's how it works. If we can't get above this high, if the next high does not go above that, it'll probably find resistance here and the price will continue to go down. Given the timing of everything, maybe not. Same thing with ADA. That's why I'm not going to sell. It takes time for me to be like, I got to be on top of things and time my re-entry. And I'm taking on a lot of work right now, looking like I'm going to be hitting the road here over the winter. If I'm doing that, I gotta move money less often, because every time you move, that's another point of failure that you could miss an opportunity. Yeah, you can set your pending orders and all that stuff and automate it. That's good. That's definitely good. And I also want to be mindful of my bandwidth of time. Either way, I'm dollar cost averaging wherever I can.
You were going to talk about TAO?
Yeah, briefly. This one, again, is a big tech company. They're all about the centralization. But the whole chart is fairly new. It's not a very old company. I think when they came out of the gate, there was like 8 billion market cap or something like that. Or no, it seems a little high. Maybe like 1 or 2 billion, I think, when it first came out. And this is a triple bottom. It's pretty spread out, but it's the volatility that we're seeing, like this bottom here going up to its all-time high. That's 373%, which in crypto, that's not much, but that's because it's a newer project. It started after the dark night of the soul that everybody experienced in 2022.
What about Zcash?
Yeah, that one, I like how this project has really shown its true colors. What is that, all-time high? Let's go to weekly. Yep. All-time highs, and that's because of the need for privacy. Totally. The need for privacy is there. And Zcash was that branch, is a fork that was valuing that privacy. But it's a proof of work. Proof of work is limited in what it's capable of doing. I think it's wonderful that there was and that there is this movement to improve upon Bitcoin. But there are other components. To me, I see this as great, but there are other components. Now, if I was smart, this is just in the last 73 days, it's gone up 1,400%. So 14x over the last 73 days, that is a very, very good thing. Don't buy now. Wait for the retracement. And budget accordingly. For me, this is a big push. I would expect it to come back and retest the previous all-time highs. And if I was a betting man and wanted to get in on this, that's where I would shoot. I would look to buy at around 360. Beautiful chart. Yep. Okay, let's move on, because we're going to be chatting about next. Talked about the contracting of the market, talked about night mining updates. We did the predictable doom of NVIDIA, the web primer, web 2.1. Web 1, 2, and 3. Let's get out the chalkboard. Market analysis for the 17th. Clear. And I see it's not grabbing GIMP here. Hang on. There we go. Sometimes I got to reset that again too. Alrighty. Web 1.0. This was the grand opening of the internet. You know, I remember using CompuServe before it was like really rural. You could only get dial-up at the time in rural countries. You didn't have an internet connection. It was, I think, 93, 94. My grandmother had it in her rural place near New Sarepta. Yeah. And I was on Web 1.0. And I had already, at that time, I had pen pals. And I was putting in letters and envelopes, licking stamps, putting it on the envelope and sending it away to wherever. I had a pen pal in Nashville, Tennessee. I had a pen pal in Poland. I had a pen pal in Vancouver. And anyway, so it was great. But then Web 1.0 came out. And now you could go into things like IRC, which was just a chat protocol, but it was totally public. There was no hiding anything. It was totally open. Anybody could go in, and there was no, you could be invited to groups, right? But the group content wasn't hidden, but it was decentralized. No identifiers that were identifiable to your person, right? Or any other person. You were literally creating digital IDs to be able to enter into groups, and you could start chats with people. I was downloading my first MP3s using IRC. This was, 1994, definitely by that time, into 95. There was no hiding, though. So what happened is that evolved, and we turned into Web 2. And what this did, what happened was, the big thing about this was JavaScript. It's a wonderful language that allows people to not just create their own identifier, but now secure their information and you get username and password. And what that did, by having the, you know what? Actually, I'm going to explain this differently. The username and the password was a consequence of the capacity that JavaScript had to have dynamic content. So now, dynamic content simply means that, you've got your group here, and you can create articles and postings within the group in IRC, every one of these. Well, how do you make it so that for this one particular file, while people could see that the file exists, how do we make it so they can't see, open it and edit it? And JavaScript made it on the internet where you needed a username and a password in order to access the content dynamically. If you went to the website and you weren't signed in, then you got the whole, sorry, you got to connect. Enter your username and your password, right? You don't have access to this. So you have to authenticate. And this process here, this username and password, where was that stored? On the server. The server that contained all of this dynamic content. So you got all this wonderful content, and you want to prevent people from just being able to see it. You can create a username and a password where you can then get access to that content. And sometimes to get that username and your password, sometimes you have to pay for it. You can't just sign up for free. You got to pay for this dynamic content. And JavaScript made it possible for this dynamic content to exist in two states simultaneously on the same page. And if the user is authenticated, then we're going to show them version A upon authentication. If that authentication fails, you can bet your boots you're going to see dynamic content B. So that's Web 2. Well, eventually we got to the point where all of these digital identifiers, I mean usernames and passwords, ended up where now all of the servers have those usernames and passwords. That's where we have this idea that, you know, this problem of our data privacy, because we're having to trust all these servers with all of our identifiers. So how do we solve that? Well, we go to Web 3, and this is actually remarkable because Web 3 specifically, I should say Web 3.0, because Web 3 is a term that gets thrown around and it's not Web 3.0. Big difference. We'll get to that in a second. So the evolution to Web 3 is you create and store your identifiers. So that, you ready? You are responsible for authenticating yourself. So the Web 3, think of it this way. You become a node. And that can be big node, little node, doesn't matter. But that node now becomes a distributor. As a distributor, you are also validating the content because you're looking at other distributors to see whether or not it matches. So now you're validating the data and you're distributing the data at the same time. So as such, now when you go to a website, we got version A here. And then we got version B. Both of these versions are now on the node. And the node has no idea of anybody's identifiers. It doesn't have that. It's the user that brings forward their digital ID. And they're saying, look, I have an identifier, and that identifier has permission under a smart contract to look at content B. And the node says, oh, yeah, sure thing. Here it is. I'll deliver it to you right now. Doesn't ask questions. It doesn't check on anything. The digital identifier that you got is the thing that the node looks for in order to deliver the content. And since all of the nodes are decentralized, now you have what's called a redistribution. A redistribution of the data where there's no centralized agency required to store the data because we're all just running nodes. Think of it this way. We ran all these miners. We did that mining exercise. Those were just I was making a bunch of nodes, really. Nodes of mining machines solving problems, doing transactions. That's what transactions are. They're just problems. So This is why night is so important. Is so that the transaction, and you know what? This digital identifier is commonly taken the form of an NFT. And that you're purchasing the NFT to signify your creation of that digital identifier. And the public identifier, the public side of things, is just a wallet address.
What's the difference between an NFT and a meme?
Well, an NFT is simply a line of code that is associated to a contract. Similar to, it's like if you and I were to do business, you would bring forward your considerations, right? These are the things I'm going to do for you in the contract, and in exchange, I need you to put down this token. This
Sure.
it's $1,000, $2,000, whatever the case may be. So the NFT is really, it's a non-fungible token, meaning that we can't change the values or the parameters of this contract after it's executed.
And a meme?
A meme, by definition, is a picture with words.
That's it. So there's no contract or no address or anything like that.
That's right.
Okay, so it's literally just a picture.
Just a picture.
Okay.
You can use pictures to represent an NFT.
I've had something in my mind. You said you can use memes to represent an NFT?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. In fact, all of the meme coins, that's exactly what it is. Doge is a meme. And the reason why is because it's I don't even know the full story of the Shiba Inu dog. I don't know the story of it. But that dog has a cultural impact in Asia.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, the community Doge got started based off of this alt-like think.
So when you say a meme coin, now the representation of the coin is a meme. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
It's not a meme per se.
Right.
You know, because it's got to have the address and all the code and everything and all the digital IDs in there. So it is truly I don't know, would you call that an NFT in there or not?
Well, again, tokens can take different forms. An NFT is a non-fungible. I think of it as an identifier of the contract that is an individual, unique, one-of-a-kind contract. It may be similar to another contract where they have similar parameters, but the identifier of the contract itself is different.
Okay.
A fungible token would be where, like what we're doing with Audrey Lynn with her ferments. We don't want to have a separate NFT, separate non-fungible token for every bottle. But we can have a fungible token, which is simply a token that can be used over and over and over and over and over and over and over again,
right?
Because it represents the bottle that we're selling over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Even though it's a different bottle.
Even though it's a different bottle. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, but then there you go. Different bottle of what? Right? Because I mean, we might want to create a fungible token for one flavor of ferment, but then a separate fungible token for another flavor. Or if it gets fortified with something. Or if it's, so you may create more tokens that way. But the fungible token, that is essentially what the Doge token is.
So it's not really a token for a particular product. It's a token for this product in this amount.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the reason why I wanted to share Web 1, 2, and 3 is because there is a growing, and Audrey, you brought this up, and thank you for your patience in coming to this point. There's a great deal of conversation that has been increasing over the past, I'd say, 3-4 years. It's been around for a while. But over the past 3-4 years, this conversation has been increasingly becoming more prevalent, or rather common. Who is the Postmaster General? Ian, what do you know about the Postmaster General?
Well, I'd have to go back. I mean, my exposure to that whole subject goes back 25 years, and I haven't looked at it for about that long. But there are some guys who claim to be, by virtue of their whatever, self-proclaimed Postmaster General for a particular thing.
Yes.
It's a legal thing. Postmaster is required in order to actually officially get something posted.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, if you look at the whole history of it, the post in the center of the town square. Eventually, they put a roof over it, became the post office.
Yep.
And the postmaster was the one that was responsible for all the posts that were made. And then it came to posting something here that would end up over there, and Postmaster General
Lovely.
was responsible for all that.
That's awesome. Perfect. That's awesome. Does anybody know who the first Postmaster General was of the United States?
Was it George Washington?
Nope. Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, actually, that's who I was thinking about. That's
Oh, okay. Yeah.
that in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. So Benjamin Franklin was the first Postmaster General. And yes, Ian, you're absolutely right. Postmaster of what? Well, the Postmaster of the United States of America, the Republic, he has the highest authority in it considerably, it could be argued, the highest authority in the entire Union. Because here's why. Postmaster General is responsible for how do I word this so that it can be instantly witnessed today? Responsible for transactions of data in the form that it took at the time. Envelopes. Today, in digital terms, these are called packets. The reason why they say that it is considered and argued that this is the highest ranking, highest power wielding position in the entire Union is because if you want to communicate something to someone else, you got to go through this guy. And it's a federal offense. If you're sending an envelope, if you're sending a packet, and you're using the correct protocols, the terms and conditions established by the head cheese himself, if you're following all those rules, your message will get to your destination by law. And if you don't have the correct identifier to open this envelope, it's a federal offense. Imprisonable.
So that is like a whole bunch of laws again.
Correct.
Made by some other human person, whatever. So if you don't hold your mouth right while you open the envelope, you could be put in prison.
Yes.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yep. Now, let's just translate this, okay? What have I just been describing for the last half hour or so? Web 1, 2, 3, right?
Correct.
Well, Web 1 would have been like the Postmaster General, Benjamin Franklin, saying, okay, everybody, we've got this great thing called the U.S. Postal Service. We're going to deliver packets of information. Envelopes of data. I get these all confused all the time. We're going to be sending these little envelopes around. But the thing is, this is Web 1. The envelopes have to be clear. They have to be 8.5 by 11. And your paper can only be sent one sheet at a time so that everybody can see it. That's what Web 1 was. Web 2 was, okay, we've got this ability to post this information, and now we can make it so that you can hide the information behind walls. And this usually turns out to be a user paywall. User has to pay to be able to access this content.
So
You
what
got
if you
A or
stop
B.
paying? So
What's
what if
that?
you stop paying? Then you can't get to access your information.
Why? Yes, that's right. If you stop paying, you lose access.
Mm-hmm.
Web 3, what happens? You become the distributor and the validator.
So I'm the postmaster.
That's who the Postmaster General. That is exactly who the Postmaster General is. You.
Well,
You are
that's
the
thing
Postmaster
is
General.
I am, Ian is, Corey is, you are.
Yes. Yes.
We're all the postmasters of our own lives or
Yes.
whatever information, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
We are the ones that are, that's why I keep saying it's self-responsibility, self-governance.
Yep. So Web 3 is by far the greatest thing to have ever been created because now it allows us to digitally practice our unalienable right of postmaster generalship over our data. And anybody that goes around says that, oh, no, you can't be a postmaster general because you didn't learn the language. It's like, no. I am self-responsible for authenticating myself. Nobody has any authority over me in this regard. Even if they exercised it, it would be false. It would be fiat. It would be arbitrary and completely revocable with the same simple method that I used to provide that that right to you, and that is contrary consent. I am the Postmaster General. Even if I'm saying, yeah, you know what? Let's assign someone else to manage the distribution and validation of my content. Let's go ahead and do that. You are still the Postmaster General over your life because you made that choice to assign him or assign her. You don't need anybody to represent you. You present yourself, period. You're not even representing yourself. You're presenting yourself. Told you it wouldn't take me long to talk about the Postmaster General, but I had to go through this first so that you could see exactly who the Postmaster General really is.
He's just another, what I'm seeing is he's just another dictator who's dictating what you can say and what you can't say, what you can do and what you can't do.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
and only within the little metaverse, the union, the Postmaster Generals that are being claimed by the Mr. Gould there, right? There are a couple others, and it's been a long time since I've been a part of that or researching that as well. There are actually 4 people that I have seen who all argue they are the Postmaster General of the United States of America. 4 of them all say the same thing, that they are. That's who they are. My question is, who cares? Because none of it matters now, because I am now the Postmaster General of my life. I have an entire world. I call it the kingdom that I live in. It's inside me. That's where I live. And I'm the Postmaster General.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the Postmaster General of your universe.
Well, that's
Everything about your world.
so the Robert Croft that they were talking about on the call, the Saturday morning call with some of the lodgepole people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so they're looking like, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is it's blowing my mind now, though, that everybody's looking to self-govern and take control of their lives, but yet, oh, Robert Croft is the postmaster general. Well, who cares?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You mean you want him to take control of your life?
Yeah. Well,
That-
you're signifying by naming him, some general over the post.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, the general, you don't use the word general unless you're in a military state.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm not at war, so I don't need a general.
No.
B, he's not in charge of anything that I say, or who I say it to, or who I send it to, or how it gets said, or how I have to say it. Nobody's in charge of that. Now, I am not opposed to there being private member associations who then assign such a gentleman as knowledgeable as him in the field that he's in, because the quantum language thing is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not limited by my speech.
Yeah.
If I was limited by my speech, then yes, I would probably want to find someone who knows how to teach me how to speak in order to maintain my freedom.
But I guess that's what I'm struggling with is all these laws and rules. I just keep seeing the only 3 rules are cause no harm, do no loss, cause no damage. Like, don't do bad shit.
Yeah.
Be a nice person. Don't be a dick. And if you are, yeah, then you can be punished. Other than that, leave everybody alone. So yeah,
Yep.
okay. And that's, I guess, where I'm, because I'm talking to a lot of these different groups. Again, I went to well, the lodgepole stuff thing that I'm looking at, and I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in it. But the thing is they all go to have tos and and these rules of, well, you have to, like you say, you go to the gate and you have to hold your hand like this and you have to, push it this way. And it's like, no, it's just don't cause any harm to anybody else. And the latch just goes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so all these groups I'm looking at, they're looking for, they're looking for somebody to do it for them. I see you shaking your head, Corey. They're looking to do it for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I see government, right? We want people just hand off what they make monetarily for someone else to do what they should be doing themselves. Right? We pay our taxes so that we don't have to worry about our doctors and our health care. Instead of, we just go out, we eat McDonald's and shitty food, right? Not taking self-custody, self-responsibility. We hand that all off to our masters and organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, we basically get slapped across the face.
Mm-hmm.
So,
they teach our children. They have our medical. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
And if the slap hurts too much, you got made there to back you up.
Yeah. I was like shocked about that shit, man. Holy, the number of people that are dying.
Did you see the latest report?
No.
They expect to save $1.2 trillion over the next 10
No.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why they're doing it. They even said it. That's why they're doing it.
Well, it's a depopulation, just like COVID. Ugh.
Well, I knew everybody was so, oh, yay, we're gonna have UBI, universal benefit income. Everybody's gonna get paid. Yeah. No wonder there's a depopulation agenda. That shit's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody who in their right mind who agrees to do that is going to want there to be more bodies than necessary. And since the machines can do the work, we might as well just depopulate the planet. Like this is, but people don't think that there's that capacity of evil out there because never underestimate the brain damage that occurs to those who go to public school.
So I believe that everybody, and because it's not being televised, what Italy's doing is everybody's walking.
Or Mexico. Look at Mexico this week.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I don't know Mexico, really.
Oh, you got to look up. Go see what's going on in Mexico. Literally, Gen Z
What do I say?
has
Mexico
formed their
what?
parliament.
Mexico what?
It's a Mexican revolution. It's literally it's almost like the American Revolution is happening in Mexico right now by Gen Z.
Okay, where would I find it? I'm not.
Yeah, where do you find it exactly? I would say that out of all of the social medias that I would suggest to stay abreast would be X.
How do I get into X? See what's happening.
Like Facebook, Instagram, all of those, YouTube, they're never going to show that stuff. But X is at least able to get that into my feeds. Oh, folks, I got to get going. I got my next appointment. You're more than welcome to keep on hanging out. We'll chat later.